if I ask you, is energy policy written for the future or for the next election?
So that's a very good question.
Thank you, sir.
Energy policy is written for longer term, honestly. But when
Okay.
a new president comes, energy is a very key segment of the policy and the administration, and
That is applicable for all the countries.
yes, so they change. Like for example, Biden was very very pro clean energy. There were a lot of money which was flowing into clean energy. Trump came in, a lot of that was cut. So this seesaw will continue. Now,
Okay.
one thing which the oil companies do is that they kind of predict the future and say, okay, even if the administration changes, what is the cost of oil, price of oil, which will make my projects work? So that's something is left to the companies, but I do agree with you. The U.S. policies are written, energy policies are written by the administration and not by the experts like us or no, obviously the administration then gets one of the experts as the secretary. Right now, Chris Wright is the energy secretary. I've been in meetings with him and at conferences. Obviously, he's a very pro oil and gas guy. But many of these decisions about clean energy and all are also at the state level,
Okay.
which is also like in India, right?
Correct.
If Bengal wants to go a step beyond the central policy or reverse the central policy in some cases, they can do that. It's kind of the same situation over there.
Okay.
That's why Texas is not, though Texas is a very interesting case.
So please tell about that.
Yes, so I live in Texas. Obviously, Houston is considered the energy capital
sorry to
of the
interrupt you.
world.
What I have understood, the place where you live, one of the U.S. president's residency is very near to you.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes.
Have you
So
ever
George
met him?
Bush.
Oh,
yes. I have met George Bush, and George Bush lived pretty close to my place. He's in the west of Houston.
Oh.
Also, the university I went to in Texas, George Bush's presidential library is in that same university. We also have a broken piece of the Berlin Wall there because it shows that the freedom is fought and U.S. helped fight communism. So that piece of wall is there. Now talking about Houston, Texas and Houston,
Texas, yeah.
I live in Houston, which is the largest city of Texas, third largest in U.S. after New York and Los Angeles, and growing at a tremendous pace. Texas is a very interesting. The eastern half of Texas is greener.
Okay.
And Houston lives in eastern half of Texas, and we have a lot of oil there also in the Texas, Louisiana. And I will tell you something about Louisiana. Louisiana is Mississippi, New Orleans. The Mississippi River flows through Louisiana. All of that has a lot of oil, but the West Texas also has oil, also has a lot of wind and solar.
Okay.
Because very bright days, very empty landscape, lots of wind. So Texas generates this, and all these different states also take a lot of the wind energy from Texas. So Texas is kind of producing energy, clean energy, old oil and gas, everything in Texas. The only thing probably Texas doesn't have, which is the geothermal energy, which is there a lot in Nevada.
Okay.
Where Las Vegas is.
A big hello and welcome to Jomiye Adda, a space where conversations rise above headlines and explore ideas that shape our future. I am your host, Surya, and today I am privileged to host Partha Sarathi Chatterjee from United States, who has been associated as an energy advisor to the offices of the recent US presidents. He is currently director at MRE Consulting, advising US energy firms on data, AI, energy trading, and risk management, with leadership experience at Shell, Dynegy, Kinder Morgan, Accenture, Capco, and Sapient. He remains deeply connected to India and the Indian diaspora, strengthening US India relations and promoting Indian culture and leadership through Pan IIT USA, IIT Alumni of Greater Houston, the Tego Society, and other Indian American institutions. So sit back, because it is not just a podcast. This is a space for curious minds, a thinking person's adda, or we like to call it a fireside hangout. Welcome to Jomiye Adda, Partha.
Thank you, Shujya. Thanks for inviting me to this program. I heard a lot about your program, how it focuses on the future, how it focuses on the key critical issues facing the world, and the thoughts of making this a better place to live for all of us. So, thank you.
Partha, it is not basically an interview or a question answer session. We'll be going for a typical fireside hangout type ambience. And to start with, energy and AI are the two hottest subjects to discuss. Can you share a bit of a background? How did your journey begin in Kolkata and then to Houston, the energy capital of the world? Especially, how did your technology and AI interest evolve?
Thank you. It's been an incredible journey. As I think about that journey, as you correctly mentioned, and you know this, Kolkata, the city of joy, is very, very special to me, and I'm in Kolkata right now, and enjoying the sights, sounds, and the cozy human touch of Kolkata. I went to school at South Point. I had a great time all through South Point High School. Graduated from there, and then I joined an IIT Kharagpur Computer Science. At South Point, specifically, I was attracted to all the subjects. I loved actually the literature subjects and history specifically. We had an incredible teacher, Ajit Das, who taught history to us, and I loved those history classes. I'm a big fan of history. My kids still love history, and I read a lot. So that was one part. And the other part, I loved physics and math. Those were two of my favorite subjects. I had a bunch of teachers whom I loved at South Point, specifically ADG, Anjan Das Gupta.
Yeah.
He
was also at our time also.
He was there at times. ADG was one of my favorite teachers. I loved, he was flamboyant. He can rub people the wrong way sometimes, but he made fun. He made fun of physics. He made fun of the students, and I loved learning physics from him. We also had Professor Gupta, Anil Gupta, also who was a great teacher. I used to teach statistics, physics. I loved taking his classes. On the math side, Shamadash Babu and Ashu sir, both of them taught me a lot about math. And what both physics and math had in common was their analytical detective part. Looking at numbers, looking at physical states, looking at problems and finding a solution. That analytical detective part of physics and math was what I loved. And that took me, I did pretty well at the high school, Madhyamik and high school exams, got ranks, and then got one of the top ranks in West Bengal Joint. And I got into IIT Kharagpur computer science, from my class from South Point, I was the only one in IIT in that department, and I, immersed myself in computer science those 4 years, learned a lot at IIT Kharagpur, had some incredible professors. S.C. Desarkar probably was my favorite. PPC, who was 2 years senior to me, Partha Chakraborty, who then became director at IIT Kharagpur, was another very, very positive influence on my life. He actually introduced me to AI. He took my AI class. He introduced me to the algorithms, how AI works. And then I did my thesis on AI. But while I was getting into education and studies, and I also had the fun aspect.
But it was in which year, Partha?
This is 83 to 87. I was at IIT Kharagpur.
So 87, you were aware of AI. And
Yes.
at that time we are...
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Because at that time the governments were planning whether they will allow computer or not.
Yes,
And at that time you were
And
aware of AI.
that's a so true statement, Shujo. At that time, left front government was not allowing computers.
Correct.
And I really wanted to stay back and do something in Bengal, but the atmosphere was simply not right. And I got into artificial intelligence there. My thesis was on artificial intelligence. I have a funny story about that. But let me finish that thought that
please.
both at South Point and at IIT Kharagpur, I was very active. I also immersed in myself in friendship, in connecting with people, which I still love doing, and that's how I got connected with you. And more importantly, I felt that the softer human touch was very important. I loved the human angle of life.
Okay.
Enjoying the good things, enjoying the camaraderie, enjoying the, good friends, enjoying sports, enjoying music. I was a huge Mohan Bagan fan.
Oh, great.
Absolutely crazy Mohan Bagan fan. I grew up in Intali, a little bit uncommon place for people from South Point. And I used to go and watch Mohan Bagan practice. I could tell you which scooter belongs to Xavier Price, which one belonged to Subroto Bhattacharya. I was a mad, absolute fanatic fan of Mohan Bagan. And I lived a double life in a way. I had this studious, educational, academic angle, but I had that fun, sports, fanatic angle. And it helped me a lot.
So those days were those wooden galleries?
Wooden galleries. I would go there. I had a membership ticket which I would go sometimes and watch the games. I used to watch the practice because from Intali, from Molali, you could take any bus and it will go to Eden Gardens and Maidan. And so we would take any bus and go there. And if the buses were too crowded coming back after the games, then we would simply walk and it'll take 30 minutes for me to reach home.
Correct.
So I lived and breathed sports out there. And I myself played cricket. I also played table tennis pretty competitively. I played sub-junior Bengal. I used to come to Rabindra Sarobar for practice. I played 4 years at IIT Kharagpur, became captain of my team at my hostel. I played at the Gymkhana at IIT Kharagpur, very active table tennis guy. So it helped me. And then the fun thing was, and I would finish, how did I go to US?
I think it was a NASA scholarship, correct?
Yes.
And you worked in NASA also.
Yes. So 86, I decided that my thesis will be on computer vision, shape recognition. And I called that Shape Recognition Image Processing System.
Okay.
And the acronym, the short form was SHRIMPS. Shrimps. Why shrimps? Because shrimps was a symbol of Mohan Bagan and all. So even there, even in my AI project, I called it shrimps,
Shrimps.
because I had this affinity for Mohun Bagan. And when I applied, I really didn't want to go abroad. And this is where it became interesting. I got into all the IIMs. I got into Ahmedabad, Calcutta, all the IIMs I applied. I think Bangalore. I didn't apply to Lucknow. And I was set on going to IIM Calcutta. But I also applied for some universities. And then I got this scholarship, a NASA-funded scholarship to work on computer vision. They had a lab at University of South Carolina, and it was called Intelligent Systems Laboratory. And NASA gave me a scholarship, NASA-funded scholarship from NSF. And I had a decision to make. No one in my family wanted me to go abroad except my mother. I was the only grandson of Amulya Chandra Chatterjee. And there was no one on my father's side who wanted me to go. My aunts didn't want that thing. But I had a fascination. There was a club in Italy called Nirvik Shomiti.
Okay.
And it was at my house. We had a pretty big house, and in the outhouse there was this club. And I watched Armstrong landing on the moon in this white screen. Remember those? At that time, they would show documentaries before the movies.
Yes.
And one of those reels came to our club. Everyone came to see this is after the event happened. And I was fascinated. I think it was in 70, 71. I was 5, 6 years old. And I was fascinated that how can man land on the moon? So when NASA said that there's a scholarship and you can do AI and computer vision, I said, okay, I'll go there for 2 years and we'll come back. Because I always wanted to do something for India. And that was my journey. And I went to Carolina, did my thesis there, again on multi-sensor fusion for vision. For 2 years, I became the top-ranked student. They wanted me to get a PhD at Caltech, California Institute of Technology. NASA was going to fund that also. But then I said no. At that time, Steve Jobs was being shunted out of Apple. And I said, I need to have a business background along with my technology. Okay. Otherwise, somewhere down the road, a businessman will kick me out.
Correct.
So I decided to get an MBA. NASA said, we love your research. We'll pay for your MBA. So we went to another lab at Texas A&M University in Texas, and they paid for my MBA. I continued to do research on NASA-funded scholarship. William Doherty, Professor Doherty there. My thesis, and I need to mention this, at Carolina was on, as I told you, on multi-sensor fusion for vision, computer vision. I presented a paper at MIT also, and my advisor was, Huntsberger, Terence L. Huntsberger, who was connected to Neil Bohr. I think he was great grandson of Neil Bohr, and what's interesting is that I felt that AI and computer vision can change this world. So after my MS and MBA, I got an opportunity to come to energy. I had offer from Intel. Intel. I decided to come to Houston to work for Schlumberger, which was the premier oil company at the time, and they were building an AI-driven drilling exploration system. It was not,
in which year?
It was 91 January.
So AI was in full form in US at that point?
At the time. Now, a lot of that AI was not data-driven right now, this machine learning AI, and I'll get into it. It was more knowledge-based expert system. We were still gathering data, but a lot of the inference were based on humans giving the rules, and we would frame those decisions based on those rules and fire off the data we would get. And that's what Schlumberger was using to help make drilling decisions.
Okay.
And I was part of that group.
So, what I like to understand, I am very interested to know from you. While working in NASA, you met best of the scientists of the
Yes.
world and best of the astronauts.
Right.
So, can you please highlight on that?
It's fascinating.
Okay.
I worked.
When you have seen the rockets, they're
Right.
getting the rockets and the assembling, all these steps you have seen.
I have seen at the lab when I came to Houston. I have seen that happen because I was part of the NASA scholarship to go. I didn't work on the NASA side. I worked on the lab which provided the information to the
Okay.
NASA. But I have seen the training of the astronauts. I have seen people what they go through to reach that mission. And the percentage is very small.
Okay.
First, you need to be selected for NASA, the astronaut training. That's a very small group. Then you go through a rigorous training process. And then every astronaut needs to develop some sort of a specialty. Like I focus on cancer treatment, or I
Okay.
focus on physics, electromagnetics. I focus so that when you are in the space shuttle, you focus on that type of research also. So you need physical well-being, mental well-being, and research interest.
Okay.
Based on that, they would select you. So the percentage of someone actually getting on a shuttle is very, very, very small. And I actually joked with one of the astronauts. I said, maybe after getting selected, it's almost as tough as getting into IIT or something. And because the percentage is very small.
Correct.
You are considered astronauts if you have gone through all this training. But you might be an astronaut who never got on a shuttle.
Okay, that can also be.
That can happen. You would be doing other research, but a shuttle might need only 5 or 6 astronauts. But there are 100 astronauts there. Of there, 5 or 6 would be selected for that piece.
So there is a huge competition among the
Huge.
astronauts. Also.
Yes. So going from being selected as astronaut to actually getting on the shuttle is also a big step.
Okay. Okay.
And on this, I have to mention another South Pointer and IIT Kharagpur guy who was 1 year senior to me, who actually worked on the NASA labs and made a huge name for himself, is Bedo Brotopine.
Yeah, I know him. I met him also. I met him.
Bedo is, I consider him the father of the current digital camera.
The sensors.
He did a lot of work on the solid state camera, and that was the precursor of all the digital cameras we are seeing right now.
Correct.
So I consider, and this is a very interesting point, Shujashish. Think about this. From the Bengali impact on science, take a step back. Bedo probably revolutionized digital camera. He was part of the NASA team which revolutionized. Now every phone, every remote sensors and others have cameras and stuff like that. And that his research was a key ingredient for this development. That's one. Second person we forget who started this wireless digital radio waves non-connected communication, which then morphed into digital and AI and all that. But first was the wireless radio communication, and it was Jagadish Chandra Bose.
Correct.
Incredible.
And in those years.
I consider him the great-great-grandfather of the digital world we are living. Because if he did not do that wireless radio wave communication, all these things would have been very difficult to achieve.
Correct. Partha, let's start with AI.
Right.
There is so much hype about AI. Can you explain what is AI? What are the various components of AI?
Yeah. And this is one thing which people, I sometimes see advertisement. Like the other day, I saw an advertisement, AI remote control for AC,
Okay.
AI controlled AC. And I asked, what is AI? Well, then I realized it's a smart AC with settings. It's not really AI. But what is AI? AI has different flavors.
Okay.
What I have been talking about, it what was initially called knowledge-based expert system. It was expert system and knowledge-based, where people sat down with a human expert, got their knowledge down, built out an expert system, and then which made decisions.
Okay.
But then you get constrained by the knowledge of the expert. You are mimicking the knowledge of the expert. That was expert system. You are mimicking knowledge of some experts and building out your AI solution. But now what has happened but AI could not really take off. Even though there was AI late 80s, early 90s, even before 60s and all, AI was talked about, it didn't take off because of three things.
Okay.
AI needs lots of data. You cannot build an AI system. Think about this. If you build a medical diagnostic system based on the information of only one doctor,
Correct.
it's not going to work.
Exactly.
You need lot of information, lot of evidence, lot of data which can be analyzed. Now, people were not sharing data.
Correct.
So that was one problem. And then lots of data storage was also very costly at the time. And lots of data to process was also very costly at the time. So we constrained AI into a knowledge-based expert system based on human expertise. But then what happened? We suddenly entered this new era. 10 years back, if someone asked you, Shurjo, what was your birthday? What's your wedding
Correct.
anniversary? So why is this guy asking this information? But now, thanks to social media, information we provide on our apps and things like that, this information is available on the cloud.
Correct.
Now we don't know you specifically, but this information is there. When is your birthday? When is where did you order food? How much food did you order? Where did you park your car? All that information is available.
Correct.
And cloud has made it cheaper to store, and cloud has made it cheaper to process. And that has fundamentally shifted AI. And now AI starts with machine learning, deep learning, where we take this data, analyze the data, and come up with the expertise ourselves.
Okay.
You are not dependent on one person. You are continuously analyzing the data. You are coming up with new rules. And so this interpretive AI is one area which is this machine learning, prediction, forecasting. That's one area. Then the third area is natural language processing, computer vision, where we are recognizing images. The work which I did long time back, now people use this to, to recognize cars, recognize humans, recognize houses, recognize pictures of shirts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That computer vision.
Everything that is available on the world.
In the world. And then there's natural language processing, where people are understanding languages, translating languages. You write something in English, they translate in Bengali and stuff like that.
Correct.
But from there, what has come is generative AI, where not only we are now understanding what people are saying, we are getting involved in conversation, giving you answers, pulling data together, analyzing data, analyzing how you want to say. Like, for example, when Gen AI came out, ChatGPT,
Correct.
and and we haven't talked about it on the podcast, but we were talking about it. I'm also a priest at Houston Durgabadi Society. I serve as a volunteer priest. And one of the things I did when ChatGPT came and we knew it could handle different language, I asked ChatGPT to create a new Durga Stotram.
Oh, great.
And it created a new Durga Stotram. And then in Houston, we also have Tagore Society of Houston,
Correct.
where we have a Tagore statue and a Tagore memorial. And I asked them for the opening to create a Tagore-like. I said, create a poem like Tagore would have written. And Gen AI created a poem in Bengali like Tagore would have written in Bengali.
Wow.
Also did one in English in Tagore style, saying, and one funny thing, I have to tell you this, not really AI, but about Houston. Tagore went to Houston in 1921 to raise funds for Vishwabharati. And one of the biggest funds for Tagore was raised from Houston, and that's why 100 years later we built that memorial in Houston.
Okay.
And so that's Gen AI. And then the fourth one, which is coming up big time, or now fifth. So we talked about knowledge-based expert system, then we talked about machine learning, then we talked about NLP and computer vision, then we talked about Gen AI, the fourth one, which is kind of, and then the fifth one is agentic AI, where they will clone humans and then agents like you will create a ticketing agent.
Okay.
And like Shujo, you tell your agent, I want this type of flights and this type of hotel and this type of stay. They will understand your request and come up with solutions, and you can interact just like you are doing with an agent, and they will give you different solutions and stuff like that. So now it can be your travel agent. It can be your fashion consultant. It can be your doctor. You can, a lot of these things can also be agentized. But one thing I have to tell you, and I have some questions on that, is where we focus on the human angle. It is extremely important, and I will come to this in future questions, that AI in its different forms should also have a human involvement and governance, so that we do the right thing with AI.
Partha, on the lighter side, has any AI ever scared you more than a human boss?
Actually, that is a good question. Some of the AI stuff right now, which we are seeing, is can be scary, right? It can, like for example, and I don't know, like you are submitting resumes to people, you're going through the resumes, and you're automatically canceling people, or you are not picking something up, or in the diagnosis, you are probably not picking up some nuance, and it scares me. It cannot be just 100% AI making a final decision. One thing, I will give you an example. Teslas of the world who are running the self-driving cars, they are looking into AI, where if they have to get into an accident, how they decide hitting one car versus another, and those type of things can get very dangerous. So those are, some really critical, life-altering decisions made by AI. I think sometimes scares me.
Okay. And on the other hand, if AI starts giving political opinions, should we mute it?
That's the thing. Actually, that scares me also. And it's a very fine line. Now there are so many videos and so many pictures.
Exactly, that's why I'm asking you.
You don't know which one is true, which one is not true, right? People are using them. I kept hearing before some of the elections, there were some of the AI experts were in heavy demand because people would ask to put out false videos about the opponents. And those are things which really scare me. Because then what happens? People say, I really did a bad thing. I went out, did something.
Correct.
And I really, I said something horrible, or actually said something horrible, or beat something up. I should not escape the consequences just saying, hey, this is AI.
Okay.
And the other way also around, I'm an
Perfect.
innocent person, you put up something and which is very dangerous, and my reputation and my well-being is at rest because some AI video went out. So it's a risk on both sides. It can let go of a criminal who has actually done a bad thing, or it can, you may find someone guilty who's an innocent person. So I am really worried about that. So there has to be proper governance, and the AI make system to distinguish between, I think there should be, and I'm pretty sure you know this, there are global standards.
Correct.
How they
Exactly.
measure 1 mile, how they measure 1 centimeter,
Correct.
what's the weight of 1 pound, the standard. I think there has to be a global AI governance whom probably the governance work with them and say, hey, this is a very dangerous video. Can you please analyze and tell me whether this was done by AI really, or like your DNA test, right? Some testing needs to be done where you can, distinguish between fake video and real video.
Sir, Houston is the energy capital of the world. Every US president is concerned about energy. How has your energy journey evolved?
That's an excellent question.
Thank you, sir.
I tell people that I am involved in two most critical changes which will impact the world.
Okay.
One is the digital AI revolution, digital transformation. The other is the energy transition, the energy supply problem. Please understand this.
Okay.
The world population is 7 billion.
Correct.
Just the amount of energy we are using is at an incredible pace. You just think about this.
Okay.
30, 40 years back when we were growing up, first, there were large tracts of the world which didn't have power.
Correct.
Second, think about in 1975, if you go, your house only had lights and fans. Most of the houses did not have TV, didn't have AC, didn't have anything. People would go to the cinema hall to get AC. That was the only place. There was no mall, nothing.
Exactly.
So even people who were there at the time were using so much less energy. And now, every small village, city, actually India uses more electricity than probably US in some cases. Because,
Whoa, I was not aware of that.
I don't know the exact number, but I see how many people are using cell phones and laptops and things like that. Even our kids. There are multiple laptops, multiple cell phones, multiple AC places, all these malls. So the energy consumption per capita has gone through the roof. More people are using energy. And so we have to find energy at a cheaper price and at a cleaner way, in a cleaner way. So my journey started, I will give a short intro. I had a choice in 1991 to go to Intel to work on chip design using some of the latest computer algorithms and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because AI also has a very strong algorithm base, so I could have gone there. Another option was Intergraph, which would work on CAD CAM. It was in Alabama. So Intel in California. But I decided to go to Texas and go to Houston and work with Schlumberger because they were actually going to use most among the three the expertise which I was going to bring, which is the AI and the computer vision, multi-sensor fusion, because that would be used to drill for energy in an efficient way. because
Okay.
that will cut down your cost of finding energy. My father used to say, Babi, when you have lost money, you have lost something. When you have lost wealth, you have lost, when you have lost money, you've lost nothing. When you have lost health, you have lost something.
Correct.
When you've lost character, you have lost everything.
Everything. Yeah.
My goal was to make an impact. And at that time, I decided that to make an impact, this energy and Schlumberger and using of latest technology for efficient will be a great opportunity. And at that time, I won't lie, Republicans were in power. George Bush was from Houston. Houston was booming. Houston was growing at a tremendous pace. Now, Houston is the third largest. In 2100, the top two cities in America would be Dallas and Houston,
Okay.
because the growth is tremendous in the south of America, south of US, California, Texas. There's because people are coming to warmer climate, more younger population, lot of resources. So I came to Schlumberger to work on that, and then that is considered upstream. Then I worked on pipelines and nomination scheduling, how to flow the energy to different areas, and worked on algorithms with Kinder Morgan. It was called Tenneco Gas at the time, became Kinder Morgan.
It was in which year?
This is 95.
95.
95 to 99. And then 99, my CIO from Kinder Morgan, that's another thing I learned.
Okay.
One of the things which I think India should learn. There was a big layoff in 97 in one of our companies. And this CIO, whose name was Blake Young, he's best man. Best man in America, when you get married, the groom has some friends and this. His best man, he laid off. He said, Partho, there was a choice between two people. He said, Partho, you are much more skilled. I will find him some other job in some other company. I am CIO. But more than Reagan, you are the person who should get this job. I got a promotion in that later, and Blake made me a senior leader over there. And I learned something. Over here, we are into nepotism and this. I know this uncle and this. This guy's best friend. And the friend also didn't get angry on Blake, because he said, Partha is a better guy. So,
And you also helped to find a new job also.
he has to find out. He would help him find it. He said, Partha, don't worry. I want you to run both these operations together. Right? And then in 99, he came back as the CIO of one of the companies, and he said, Partha, come and join Dynegy. And from 99, I have
So
been
that's why you joined Dynegy.
focusing mostly on energy trading and logistics, that how best to get energy, pay for energy, transfer energy all over the world. Then later, last 8 years, I was at Shell running the data AI group at Shell around energy. When I joined Shell, 0% in energy trading was on the cloud. And when I left, we were on the cloud, we were on the data analytics platform, we were using AI. And the general manager, the head of trading, was an actually Iranian guy and an Iranian-American guy. And he says, Partha, these guys want to do this cloud and AI thing. I know it will not work in trading because we are too smart. AI cannot do any of this. But IT will keep on trying. You just try and it will not work. And then we'll say, Partha is the smartest guy. He has tried and it has not worked. So from there, I made the transformation. And now I am part of MR. I left Shell Because again, an Indian angle. I left Shell to run my AI in energy practice, MRE. I have the top energy clients: BP, Shell, Citgo, a lot of other clients, German clients, British clients, obviously American clients, and we just got acquired by Infosys.
I know
But
that.
what we are doing, we are taking AI to make an impact on energy.
Okay.
And please understand this. In energy, a lot of the younger people, they think energy pollutes the environment and they don't want to get involved. But the same guy who's complaining energy pollutes the environment, they're using 5 times more energy because they have laptops and phones and everything. So now the problem is what I tell them. The challenge is for us to find cleaner way to get energy. And that's where technology comes in. How can we make, because if you can't do that, this population, if India is now India is the largest, has the largest population. If we don't provide cleaner energy, everything will come to the stop. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to people, trying to help them so that we can have cleaner sources of energy for India also.
So again, on a lighter mode, which is harder, clean energy transition or cleaning the email inbox?
Oh, I have a tough time cleaning the email box, and one of the things which has become really tough for me, and I'm trying to, is the spam. Right? People are constantly, and I ask them. Everyone says, Partha, just now, if you don't provide your email, you cannot sign on to a new law or no new event, and then they sell that email to 20 other people. And I do not know how to solve this problem. But one guy I will tell you on cleaning up the email, and I will drop a name, Arjun Malhotra. He is one of the co-founders of HCL Tech. He is also an IIT Kharagpur senior. I am amazed. One of the messages I want to leave for the audience is that yes, you may get hundreds or 200 email every day, but that one person who needs help has sent you an email. It is your duty to respond to that email. And I learned this from Arjun Malhotra, who probably gets 5 times, 10 times more email than me. So at least I will respond. And I find it, and this is a message to everyone, whether you are a teacher or a senior executive, you should respond back. And even if you can't do it, you can just tell him, hey, I can't help you now, but these are the options you can take, or please come back to me 6 months or something. Because not responding to an email in this days is a crime, I feel.
Agreed, 100%
and
agreed.
I wanted to, it's an excellent question. I still struggle with cleaning my emails. But so I agree, it is more tougher. It is tougher. But I also want to leave a message to everyone. Please respond to WhatsApp, text, email, because that's the least we can do. You never know who needs help when.
So it is a matter of pride that you are on Energy Risk USA, the energy think tank of US public and private entities. What is your involvement there?
Yep. So Energy Risk USA is a think tank, and they have a conference every year, and they have gatherings around energy policy, energy technology, what's the future of energy. And some of the information I get from there, is kind of internal, super confidential type of thing we often get. And some of this information I don't think, this will happen, but then it happens in 2 months, right? But the biggest thing, my involvement, I was brought in to focus on the technology side. To be honest, in 2017, when it was first done by Trump was the president, then Biden, then Trump back. This is a think tank which obviously looks at what policies which have come up from the U.S. President, U.S. Senate, and then try to find out what is the impact and how should we address. And the last 8 years, I have gotten a prime position because I was inducted in that board of directors to focus on technology because
Okay.
they realized without technology,
Okay.
we cannot get clean energy. We cannot provide energy at cheaper cost. And so how do we use data? How do you use AI? And it is funny, when I started in 2017, I had a session. It was, one of the, at that time, one of the, afternoon sessions, and there was a lot of interest. And now it has to be one of the, either the keynote session or the second session, never later than the second session, because everyone is interested in knowing about what is AI, what is digital, what is this. And that's what I bring to the table, that we have to be smarter. We have to figure out. And so how does technology come in? What is my involvement? We have to predict better how much is the LNG need in Calcutta.
Okay.
How does it fluctuate? How much does the gas fluctuate? Oil. Because depending on that, we can get the oil or the gas or the gasoline at a right time at a cheaper cost, so that I can provide you the energy at the right time at the right cost.
Okay.
And that can only be done by running these analytics and stuff. That's what my team does. Used to do at Shell. Now here is running analytics and saying, oh, can we move gas here? Like, for example, I will give you an example right now. If I asked you, does the weather in California impact LNG price in China? And I give this example in this year's panel.
Okay.
And people would say, so what are you I said, you will ask, Partha, what are you smoking? Weather in California impacting LNG price in China? Then I showed that through our data analysis we found, if the weather becomes really hot in the summer for about 10-15 days, the power consumption goes up.
Yeah.
The AC requirement goes up. So much gas gets transferred into the power plants to generate that power. Less gas 2 weeks from now to produce LNG in Louisiana and Texas to take to Asia. 6 weeks down the road, Asia will be hit because less LNG coming from Texas and Louisiana.
Amazing.
It all started with this. And how did we figure this out? Through running data analytics AI on this.
Correct.
And we need to do that in India. We need to find out, there should not be a flat price. There should be also incentive to people.
Correct.
You should be able to say, hey, I will charge my phone, or I will charge this on the off-peak hours. I will do it at night when the factories can pay more. All these behaviors need to be impacted by technology, and showing you how, like all my friends, even I can show on my phone, my camera is getting monitored at home in Houston, my temperatures, everything I can show what is the temperature in my house. So you should be able to monitor, hey, why should your AC run when you know? And you say, no, I turn it for 8 hours every day. Well, when you are not there at your home, you should turn it off.
Correct.
So all that digitalization needs to happen, right?
Okay.
And that's where technology comes in, and that's what I preach on those panels. How does technology make energy consumption, trading, procurement, even refinery and the plants more efficient, so that we can cut down the cost of energy?
So, sir, our global energy policies are driven more by data or by elections, whether it is in India or China or at US or Venezuela.
So that answer is an easy answer. It is election.
It's election.
Because data gives you the real facts and all that. But the hype about elections, right? The governments always want to lower the price so that they can get votes and stuff. So there's pressure. So right now, Trump is facing the pressure. He has to lower the energy cost.
Yeah.
Every government, PM Modi here is feeling the pressure. But one thing has to be understood. And this is one thing I have to tell you. Is the cost of oil. Yes, there is a percentage difference between different countries and
Correct,
stuff.
correct.
I don't want to get into that. But if you see that the price of gas here at a home in Calcutta has risen by 200%, it's not that the central government has spiked it by 200%.
Correct.
Central government is dependent on what the oil price and the gas price of the world
Exactly.
is. If the oil and gas price in the world has jumped up 180% to 300%, your gas price is going to increase.
Correct.
No government can lower it, right?
Exactly.
So it is us, the energy experts, have to work with the governments to lower the price. But I do feel the pressure, right? A lot of my policies every year, that's why at the conference we are always listening. That, Iran is going to do this, Middle East is going to do this, US is going to do this. If Iran does this, then US will do this, then this. It's a chess game. But we are listening to that to see what the impact will be on energy policies. But from the technology side, it is not impacting me directly. I don't feel that pressure from there. I feel the pressure. It's like the Eureka movement. If I can squeeze the value, and I'll give you an example what my AI technology has done.
Please.
When the crude oil comes and then you get petrol and gasoline and kerosene and all that, it all happens in a place called refinery.
Correct.
You guys know. They take those crude oil and then they have different processes.
Different products also.
So these have heavy equipment.
Okay.
Lots of specialized equipment. What we have done through technology is cut down on the maintenance cost significantly, 15 to 30%. And I got awards for that.
Oh,
that's
how?
Great. Because we did predictive maintenance. What we found, and you know this, some of these machines, like for example your car.
Correct.
Your car, they say, every 6 months you have to do this service. In case of a refinery, if you have to do this service for this equipment, you have to shut down the refinery, do this service. So there's cost for the service, cost for shutting down.
Exactly.
All that gets added up. But now if I have a smart analytics, predictive maintenance, which says, hey, your equipment service should depend also on the weather. Hot and humid in Calcutta is not the same as a nice temperature in Greece, cooler temperature in Canada. They should be, different. Something which will take every 6 months to service in Calcutta should take 2 years up there.
At Canada.
And reverse, if something which really operates in the hot weather, not in the cooler weather, Calcutta should do something better. So what we did, we changed this maintenance from 6 months to 2 years to 3 years. We've cut down on that. But we also did not make it unsafe. We have signals and IoT devices monitoring. So if some of the signals gives, this machine seems to be heating up or this seems to be slowing up, then we schedule the service.
Okay.
So you have cut down the risk. Basically. It's a rationalized. You have cut down the risk, decreased the maintenance, saved money. And that's how we do. So that's our job. So I do listen to the policies. I do listen to the foreign services and the chess game.
Okay.
But I feel great when all these business and government officials want to listen to Partha.
Oh, amazing.
This guy, I go on stage and I explain this. And one of the things you have to do, and I tell all my technologists, sometimes we try to make us sound very important, throwing technology garbage. machine learning and this without explaining what this means and stuff. One thing I'm really good at, which you probably is explaining in layman's terms.
Correct.
And one of my professors once said that the best way to learn a subject is to you learn, you understand, and you teach another student who you then see whether he understood what you understood the subject. And that's what I do. I tell these government the public officials and others that this is what the technology impact would be. This is what you need to spend money on, because it will give you a benefit within 3 months or 6 months or 3 years, but you need to start spending money.
Exactly. That's perfect. Partha, the world is really concerned about energy volatilities, environment, and clean energy. How do all these things play? How do you see the energy future?
It's an excellent question again.
Thank you, sir.
Energy future, in a very weird way, is impacted by all those things. There's tremendous amount of volatility in energy because of geopolitical situations. Just in 2 days,
The Venezuela.
Venezuelan crisis. And I won't get into the politics.
Correct.
Few months back, after our last energy risk conference, there was an Iran attack. All this, then the Ukraine-Russia situation, then the situation in Nigeria where there's lawlessness over there, Middle East. The problem in energy is a lot of the producers outside of US, they have issues and political turmoil which can impact the supply.
Okay.
So that creates, there's nothing in this world which has that much volatility attached to it probably. And again, let me just say, this is one of the most highly volatile situations. So that constantly changes the demand, supply and price graph for energy. The other piece in the energy future is the energy growth is explosive. You can't stop it. Just think about yourself. Right? If I ask you for the next 7 days, do not use a laptop and cell phone ever, this is not going to work.
Working without laptops or cell phones is like a salvation nowadays.
It's now a salvation, right? So if I ask you not to use, you cannot cut down on energy. Yes, we can make the devices more energy efficient. There's already work going on there. But the basic premise that the world population is growing and the energy demand is growing at a faster pace than population. And every remote part of the world is getting electrified. And so the energy demand is going to grow much more than the population.
Okay.
So we have a volatile situation, greater demand, and added to it, we are now saying, and we should say, that we should have a cleaner environment so that the energy consumption doesn't impact our environment, doesn't impact our future. So that now you can't just go to wind and solar because it can't provide you 24 hours energy at the rate you need. So there has to be a balance between the two. And one of the things which I am supportive of India and China are doing, and this is one angle I see as the energy future, the Western democracies want to paint energy in two black and white halves.
Okay.
Clean energy, which is wind, solar, thermal, geothermal, all that. And then everything else, carbon, is black, is dirty. Now, it's not going to work for big populations. It cannot suddenly divert everything. Because look at Calcutta. In US, where there's space, we can have solar panels on each of the houses.
Exactly.
Here, there's a vertical growth in this big city. You can't have solar panel. And it is not, in US also, that is the problem, say, in New York or in New York. But in every other city, or even in the suburbs of New York, we can put solar panels a lot. But almost every town and city in India, you cannot have,
No, we
because
cannot put.
multiple families are living in one place. So you can't just suddenly go to wind and solar, right? So my thing is, it cannot be a two-layered split of energy, clean and unclean.
Okay.
I call it three-layered. I
How?
call it, the clean energy is one layer, but within carbon, I have cleaner carbon and dirtier carbon. So the cleaner carbon is what India and China are focusing on, which is the CNG and the LNG and the natural gas, and that's what we should focus on.
Okay. So India is on the right track.
Right track on that. And they are doing wind and solar. But we can't have 100% wind and solar in India. We need to have this layer. And this needs to be communicated to all the Western guys who are shouting, hey, you should go to wind and solar, because I think CNG, LNG, and the natural gas is a good compromise, the cleaner carbon. Obviously, we want to cut down on crude oil, on coal. Coal is a heavy polluter.
Correct.
We really need to cut down on coal. But let's increase cleaner LNG and NG and those. Obviously, we also have to go down to wind and solar, because wind and solar is also cheaper in the long term if you have the asset
Correct.
already built.
Partha, something that I would like to understand from you is that how does the US administration view energy and their policies? What India should do also? How do they get cheap energy and keep the environment clean? I mean, US government. Because there are more cars than India, more industry than India.
And this is where US is, I would say, not at par. Europe has done a better job
Okay.
of going to the battery and the electric and all that. The US setup is still not caught up. So
Okay.
US, the electric cars are obviously have increased from 10 years back, but one of the reasons we are afraid to have both cars. Almost every family has two cars, right? For
Correct.
two of them have to have at least one car one car ICE, because the EV infrastructure and all that. So if you are going for long drives, the infrastructure is still not there. It's being built. Now, I am involved with a company which is building out an EV infrastructure over there also, and we'll talk about it. This is one investment firm which is also helping with one of the EV manufacturers here in India also. So we are building out the EV infrastructure, but US is not there. But they are, different states are ahead.
Like?
California is definitely probably the most ahead, right? But still, California's infrastructure is not caught up. So you have to understand, in US, if you look at the map of US,
Correct.
you should look at the map of US and kind of see. And one of the funny ways to see is to, if you look at the map of US, like where are the densely populated? So say in almost, even in California, the coast is densely populated. But just if you go 15, 20 miles away from the coast,
Okay.
it's pretty desolate. So you have to build all this infrastructure over, snow-capped mountains in the desert and all that stuff. So that's still to be built out. A lot of the EV infrastructure needs to be built. California is very much ahead. I think what will happen in US will have a hybrid policy of still looking for oil and gas, cheaper sources, but also, building out the electric vehicle, the wind and solar. So it will be a balanced approach. Now, one thing you kind of hinted is US is, because even after this we guzzle a lot of oil. Right?
Correct.
So US is always looking for cheaper oil, right? Now, one of the things which happens, the same guys who want cheaper oil, sometimes they don't want to drill. Now, that's the problem. We have oil, there's Alaska which has a lot of oil, but they can't drill because of environmental concerns. So US also has to come up with a policy which is a balanced policy where the energy demands, the clean energy and all that balanced. We have we still can continue the journey towards clean energy.
Okay.
So we build out the electric, wind, solar infrastructure, and we have to continue to do that. We also have to continue to find cleaner ways of processing the carbon. And I think there's technology which can be developed where we can make the oil, the crude oil, the refineries more efficient so that don't pollute the environment. And both the fronts need to be fought.
So if I ask you, is energy policy written for the future or for the next election?
So that's a very good question.
Thank you, sir.
Energy policy is written for longer term, honestly. But when
Okay.
a new president comes, energy is a very key segment of the policy and the administration. And
That is applicable for all the countries.
Yes. So they change. Like, for example, Biden was very, very pro clean energy. There was a lot of money which was flowing into clean energy. Trump came in. A lot of that was cut. So this seesaw will continue. Now, one thing which the oil companies do is that they kind of predict the future and say, okay, even if the administration changes, what is the cost of oil, price of oil, which will make my projects work? So that's something is left to the companies. But I do agree with you. The U.S. policies are written, energy policies are written by the administration and not by the experts like us or no, obviously the administration then gets one of the experts as the secretary. Right now, Chris Wright is the energy secretary. I've been in meetings with him and at conferences. Obviously, he's a very pro oil and gas guy. But many of these decisions about clean energy and all are also at the state level.
Okay.
Which is also like in India, right?
Correct.
If Bengal wants to go a step beyond the central policy or reverse the central policy in some cases, they can do that. It's kind of the same situation over there.
Okay.
That's why Texas is not, though Texas is a very interesting case.
So please tell about that.
Yes. So I live in Texas. Obviously, Houston is considered the energy capital of the world.
What I have understood, the place where you live, one of the U.S. president's residency is very near to you.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes.
Have you
so
ever
George
met him?
Bush.
Oh,
yes. I have met George Bush, and George Bush lived pretty close to my place. He's in the west of Houston.
Oh.
Also, the university I went to in Texas, George Bush's presidential library is in that same university. We also have a broken piece of the Berlin Wall there because it shows that the freedom is fought and U.S. helped fight communism. So that piece of the wall is there. Now, talking about Houston, Texas and Houston,
Texas, yeah.
I live in Houston. which is the largest city of Texas, third largest in U.S. after New York and Los Angeles, and growing at a tremendous pace. Texas is a very interesting. The eastern half of Texas is greener,
Okay.
and Houston lives in eastern half of Texas, and we have a lot of oil there also in the Texas, Texas, Louisiana. And I will tell you something about Louisiana. Louisiana is Mississippi, New Orleans. The Mississippi River flows through Louisiana. All of that has a lot of oil, but the West Texas also has oil, also has a lot of wind and solar.
Okay.
Because very bright days, very empty landscape, lots of wind. So Texas generates this, and all these different states also take a lot of the wind energy from Texas. So Texas is kind of producing energy, clean energy, old oil and gas, everything in Texas. The only thing probably Texas doesn't have, which is the geothermal energy, which is there a lot in Nevada,
Okay.
where Las Vegas is.
Sir, one personal question to you.
Yep.
It is a question, not a part of the podcast also, you can
Okay.
say. Suppose you and ma'am are going for a shopping. Suddenly you have seen President Bush walking in, say, "Hi, Partha, how are you?" Has that type of situations ever happened?
So it's once where we bumped into my wife, who was pregnant and at the time, and President Bush let her come in front of him, and that's the
That's
courtesy.
amazing.
Yes, but the point there, right, is I really feel a lot of respect over there. This if you meet, I will give you another example. The head of the Harris County, and he was Judge Emmett.
Okay.
His son has now become one of the big Vedantic scholars.
Okay.
He runs a Vedantic. He's a very close friend. The current mayor, he had the Diwali party, invited all of us there and stuff. So one of the things you have to understand is that all these people, they're not going around with tons of assistants and others. And I'm not going to mention about the sports fiasco here, but a lot of people hanging around. These are normal people. Obviously, there's securities. There's an assistant there, or a in case of George Bush, special forces person keeping an eye. But it's not. They are not behaving as if they're at a higher pedestal.
Okay.
And that's one thing which I saw firsthand.
Sir, is Make in India easier than make energy affordable? Because you love India, that's why this question is special for you.
I am very positive about India.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, sir.
I am, and not only that, and I talk to you about that, I feel tremendously indebted to India. And if nothing else from this podcast, I want to talk about that. I feel Make in India can happen, and make energy affordable can happen. If you want to choose between the two, I would actually vote for Make in India more than Make in Energy. Cheaper. Why? And I want this very important. So first, my personal interest. I'm the son of a doctor. He's passed away, Jomiye Chatterjee. But I paid only 25 rupees for my education at IIT every month. I have a tremendous debt to this country. I have made my name, fame, money based on that education here, based on things I have learned from here. And this is my way of giving back to India. And I have made my decision, one of the reasons I left Shell, that I will work in a triangle of key areas: AI, energy, and India.
Oh, Wow.
That's what I want to do. I am involved in multiple different Indo-American organizations. I am, and I really feel India is shining. Without getting into the politics, let
Correct.
me explain why. To the Western conservative investor, they are seeing this geopolitical mess of the world, and they do not trust China and Russia that much. There's an China, because of China is seen a direct competitor. Russia already had the Cold War and that issue, and then they see the turmoil in Middle East, in all the countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Middle East, and they're concerned about stability. Then they look
Exactly.
at Europe, which was their natural partner. US and Europe are
Europe.
the
Yeah.
natural partners. That's what built NATO, right?
Correct.
And now they see and look at Europe, and they see that Europe has so many problems. Their economy is faltering, their birth rates are going down, there's tremendous uncontrolled illegal migration coming in, their culture getting devastated, and they're concerned. So the US investors are saying if they can't invest in Russia, China, Middle East, in most countries, Europe, South America has its own problem. The only
The
place
only option available
they
to them.
see as stable country, educated country, stable democracy, whether you like this,
And
or
people
the
can speak
elections are
English
held,
also.
they speak English, they're educated, they have a rich heritage, but they are also modern. The same guy, look at me.
Correct.
I am a priest at Houston Durabari Society. I
Exactly.
believe, and then I work on AI and artificial intelligence and computer science, and in energy, I'm on the energy panel. This is what every one of us are. And that's a track. And then finally, the entire in India is a younger population. They have hunger in their belly.
Correct.
You cannot replace hunger in the belly. You cannot replace people wanting to do better. And that's why I believe in India. I make in India. And again, this is not a political statement. This is about what the world sees. I spend my time, like it or not, Texas is a much more whiter. My growing up, my first 10 years, or many of the times, I was the first Indian they met.
Okay.
In many companies, the higher position I had, the first Indian guy, because Texas is was very, very white. Now, obviously, a lot of Indians also have come and others. And so I have friends, very close friends, who, before they met me, or 30 years back, they had never met an Indian. They couldn't have pointed where India was on the map.
Okay.
Now they know India is a powerhouse. They have to work. At work, they have to work with India. They know about Sundar Pichai. They know about IIT. They know about India sending rockets to space. They know about the ISRO development. They know about so many people making incredible findings. I think what we can do, and why I am here, is that we don't need to donate money to India as a charity. India doesn't need our charity. India needs our well-intentioned help, lessons we have learned, things you should not do, our mentoring, our networking, connecting you to the right people, telling you, do this, don't do that. I just came from a breakfast, as you know.
Yeah, I told me.
And the person had sold his company actually to one of the biggest industrial houses, and we were discussing how to take AI to the next level in India. And that's what you will do. It's not about just AI. It's about chemical processing, about building roads, about infrastructure, about doing mechanical innovation. How do we take this energy, this education, this innovation of India to the next level?
Okay.
And we need to help that. And that's why I am passionate that till the date, and why I am so driven.
So it is your personal goal. I can
My personal goal. And my personal goal, I love Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna.
And obviously Mohan Bagan also.
Mohan Bagan. There's very much Mohan Bagan. Actually, I'll tell you, my son, born and brought up there, also follows Mohan Bagan.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's Swamiji's line, Swamiji Ramakrishna Dev's line, জীবনে যখন এসেছিস দাগ কেটে যা.
So can you just translate in English?
Yes. It means when you have come to this world, when you are born, leave a mark. I want to leave
Perfect.
a mark. And not only that, for my Bongo Shamalan, which was in the core team in Houston, the theme was Dak Keteja.
Oh, wow.
Leave a mark, make a difference. Because we want to leave a mark. We want to make India better. We want to make AI the theme, which is America, India, AI the theme, so that these two democracies, stable democracies, forget about the individual PMs and the presidents, but we share this kingship and together we can make a better world.
Sir, in that case, India has a huge population. Should we adapt AI? And if yes, how?
Excellent question. Again, let me quote a very, I won't take his name, a very famous guy who wanted to sell computers to the left-front government in the 80s. 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
Probably you had some articles on that also, no?
Yeah. So anyway, so when you were selling, this guy said, no, we won't use computer and please, it will replace humans. He said, no, it won't replace humans. If you take this Excel sheet and this calculator, you spend 2 hours adding these numbers up. You can do the same job, but you can do job in 10 minutes. And then instead of working 2 hours, you will work 10 minutes a day and you have 7 hours, 50 minutes free.
Correct.
So the guy embraced it. So similarly, I tell people something. I tell people, you will not lose your job to AI.
Okay.
You will lose your job to someone who knows how to use AI.
Okay, that's excellent.
I will give you an example. Think about this. 30 years back, if you were an accountant and you said that I am a great guy, I can maintain the ledgers and I can do add and
Correct.
addition. And now, if the same guy comes and he says, I can do all those things, but I cannot touch a computer, will you hire that guy?
No.
The
Never.
same thing will happen with AI. It's not that AI will do your job. You will leverage AI to do your job better. For example, my father I didn't see my father order a MRI ever. Now, every other day you guys doing MRI and this scan and this thing
Correct,
and this
correct.
that. And some computer will read those and give it to you. So you need to know. So I am telling you this.
Okay.
Everyone needs to know, and you are already doing it.
We are doing that.
Previously, you used to do search. Now, the chatbot and the chat GPTs and
Search
the
is being replaced by
Gemini and all
prompts
that, all that's prompts. You're giving you a lot of answers. You get those answers, and you form a spreadsheet. You put your points together.
Correct.
They give you a draft of a spreadsheet. Instead of you trying to drag this picture to that picture, what will you be spending more time, Surya? You'll be spending more time in making your content better.
Correct.
Not putting this picture in that point, that line there. your English, oh, did I write the right English? All that will be checked by AI. But you
Correct.
will have more time to make your content better,
To upgrade ourselves at
to
least.
upgrade yourself. So, finally, this is my line. AI will take all your jobs. AI will take all your jobs to the next level.
Oh, that's great. That's an excellent way to put that one. Parthoda, is there right governance of AI? I'm curious to know that. How do you control AI and make sure it doesn't have negative impact?
That's an important thing, and I was telling you this. There has to be a governance and the
Yeah,
policy of
yes.
AI. Because what people don't understand, and I was just talking to the guy whom I just left the breakfast on, that whatever we build, the look back and making sure that the AI is not the governance and making sure the AI is not giving you answers which are wrong, very important. You have to have a proper domain expert. Like, for example, I will tell you this. If you're a doctor or if you're a construction engineer and you're using AI, you need to have the domain expert review and make sure it is not giving. So it will save a lot of your time, but don't blindly make it do stuff. Someone has to oversight. Maybe 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road, it has become really better. All the test cases have been done. You do that. You have to have proper governance. And I feel every company, the US and more than US, Europe has a very strong AI governance policy. US is probably going to do some like that. India also has to come up with some sort of a governance where AI can be used, what sort of controls, and look back. One thing I do absolutely recommend, when you implement AI, you then, every time AI gives you an answer and you take a decision and something doesn't work, you have to look into why it didn't work
Okay.
and why it gave the wrong answer so that you can fix it next time. That governance, you cannot consider this as a right now at this point, like it is a little child getting on a bicycle where she's going to ride cycle, she will drop sometimes and you have to teach them how to be better. Now,
Okay.
different AI models are at a better level, at an advanced level, but there has to be some control and guidance on this. So I'll give you an example. United Healthcare, and you can look it up. The CEO was shot by one of the guys because he felt United Healthcare was, using some sort of data analytics to, cancel any medical
Okay.
request for insurance for some group of patients. And they had to look back and make it better and stuff, but they didn't have any mechanism like that. So you must have, why is this decision made, explainable AI, how can we make it better? That governance, that domain knowledge needs to be there along with AI.
So finally, as we are coming into this podcast, what is the biggest wrong assumptions the world makes about AI and energy?
Good question. First, let me address AI. AI is at a very pivotal point. There are two fears collapsing. One fear is the fear of the CEOs and the CFOs and the board of the companies, that they are afraid, FOMO, fear of missing
Fear
out.
of missing out,
They are
yeah.
afraid that, oh, my company has not implemented AI, we are behind, when are we going to implement AI? Oh, we are losing so much money, AI will fix it. That's that fear. And then there's the fear of the middle and the lower level people. Oh, my job will be gone because AI will take over. And this is dangerous because these two fears are absolutely contradictory. So what needs to happen is a domain involvement where people pick the right use cases and pick the right AI with governance for those use cases. So you pick, it's like this. And I'll give you a simple example.
Okay.
Early days of COVID, when we had COVID, remember, we didn't have the vaccine and stuff.
Correct.
People will say, oh, now you take this medicine with that medicine, this 7 medicine, some cocktail you will drink, and because they were not sure. But if you now know the diagnosis and you know the exact disease, you can give the right medicine. So what I'm telling you, treat AI as a strong medicine.
Okay.
You have to pick the right disease first. This is the use case. This is where I have to use AI for this use case. Do not just deploy AI and think it will solve the problem, because you have to pick this. In this case, I will use AI to solve this problem. That due diligence must happen. So the domain expert with AI expert needs to work together with the right governance to solve these problems. Okay? So that's
okay.
one thing about AI. And for energy, I am feeling, world is feeling the pressure, lot of interest happening. I think there's progress happening in battery, progress happening in clean energy generation, in energy trading, logistics and all that. So I'm very positive about this, that this will continue to happen and we'll have a cleaner, efficient form of energy.
So, Partha, what is basically the legacy that you are looking for?
This is, I kind of addressed it. I want to be involved in innovation, in new technology, be it AI, be it analytics, be it data, digital, to positively impact the world. Energy is my domain, where I have spent 35 years in corporate world in US. I have lots of experience in different areas. And this is my way of making a cleaner, efficient energy environment leveraging technology. I do feel that I also want to contribute towards India, help mentor startups, talk to them what are the use cases, what are the things we can make an impact on. And my legacy will be this simple thing, leave a mark.
Oh, that's great.
Just do something positive. And there's a Sanskrit saying, ma phaleshu kadachana. It means work and serve without expectation. I want to do that. My action will give me the recognition. You don't seek the recognition. If you truly make an impact, people will understand the impact. And that's the legacy I want to keep. Ma phaleshu kadachana, leave a mark. জীবনে এসেছিস যখন দাগ কেটে যা.
Sir, thank you for sharing not just your journey, but your clarity, conviction, and vision for the future. Today's conversation reminded us that energy and AI are not just technologies, they are forces shaping economies, geopolitics, and human destiny. For our listeners, this Adda, or you may call it as fireside conversation, was not about quick answers. It was about better questions, long-term thinking, and the responsibility we carry toward the next generation. If this conversation made you pause, reflect, or rethink the future, then our purpose is served. This is Surya, signing off from Jomiye Adda, where ideas meet experience and conversations build the future. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep the Adda or the fireside conversations alive. Partha.
Thank you a lot.